everyone, Brooke here. I hope wherever you are in the world today is treating you well. In today's video, I'm doing something a little different, and that is introducing you to a little mini series that I want to do here on this channel called the Diaper Diaries. Now, the Diaper Diaries is, for those of you who have no idea what it is or who didn't even ask for it, it is going to be the good, bad, and the ugly of running a diaper service in New York. From 2009 to 2019, I ran a diaper service, a cloth diaper and disposable diaper service, or compostable diaper service rather. And I had clients from Long Island to New York City. There are so many stories I have from running the business, from the customer base themselves, from doing deliveries in the middle of the night in New York City and Long Island, from dealing with different businesses, big businesses, small businesses, making relationships with people, dealing with mean girl businesses. You know, I dealt with so much running this service. And it was such a big part of my life for so long, and I have so many different stories, and I'm like, you know what, like, a lot of it's funny. Some of it's not so cool, especially dealing with like any drama, because let me tell you something. The baby industry is a bunch of drama, but when you start getting into like the niche, you know, cloth diaper industry, breastfeeding, baby wearing, that's just a whole other level of drama, all right? So I want to share the good, bad, and the ugly of running a diaper service in New York, my experiences with that. Your mileage may vary if you start your own company, but being I was 22 years old, I was a young mom, you know, and just getting to the point where I was able to start a business and getting the customers and everything like that, there's just a big story. And it's one of those stories that I feel like I can't really start in the beginning. I could give you a good foundation, but it won't really give you a good taste for like 10 videos of what I really went through. But if you're interested in, you know, learning about how I started my business, why I did it, what I went through to even get it, all the adversity I faced to even start it, to even open my doors, I'm happy to do a separate video and talk about that. Again, being a young mom and I wasn't college educated, I literally started this company because I believed in the message of cloth diapers. I believed in the gospel of cloth diapers. I'm an environmentalist, and I really wanted to help families reduce their eco footprint, especially once I learned like how disastrous and wasteful, like, you know, chemical-laden disposable diapers are for the environment. So I believed in it, and I really ran my business off the premise that I was an environmentalist and animal rights activist, and it really was a labor of love. I didn't really run the business, you know, till the end as a business, but at that point, the cracks and the foundation was shaky that it wasn't really something that I wanted to continue to do. But I am happy to share, you know, any stories that I can about running a service, and I just felt like it would be fun, do something a little different. If you came to this channel through my fasting videos or my tradeswomen videos or, you know, my goal setting videos, and you're not really interested in this style content, then please look at the playlist that I have. I post different videos. That's why I named my channel Meet Brooke, because I'm a pretty eclectic person, so I just like to talk about different aspects of my life. So hopefully you'll find one of those videos more suitable for you, or, you know, if you're interested in that. But with that said, I'm just going to jump into some of my favorite delivery night stories. I don't really know where it's going to go. I have so many, so I think I'm probably going to do like 1 or 2 delivery night videos or in this stories in this video. And if you guys are interested in it, if you want to hear more, just leave a comment in the comment section below. And I will say, before I begin with this little series, that I'm not throwing shade at anyone. I learned a lot running this business. I learned how to deal with people. I learned customer service skills. I learned, you know, business development. I learned a lot, and I went through a lot. Some stuff was not cool that I went through. Some of the grief that I got from other businesses, you know, different people, some of the ill treatment I got are things that made me a better person, in my opinion. It made me stronger, made me harder, it made me learn about the industry, learn about people in general. So the stories that I tell, I'll leave people's names out, I'll leave company names out, but let me tell you something. There were great small businesses. I worked with a lot of different owners. I tried to promote as much like small work-at-home mom products as I could, but there were some businesses that were just straight up mean girls, okay? And like I said, it's a different industry, you know, like when you get into the baby wearing, cloth diaper, all that stuff, like that's a different beast in itself. The amount of drama that I dealt with running this service, okay, with shade, things like that, social media stuff, little cloth diaper groups, things like that. I mean, there's a lot, and it's so much to unpack. So I'm just gonna share my story and I'll see how this little series evolves. But I will say that that I truly believe in, you know, reducing your baby's eco footprint. You know, using cloth diapers, there's so many benefits. I'm done having children. I'm blessed with the children that I have, but I do preach the gospel of cloth diapers wherever I can in the right setting. You know, now I'm just talking about different things, right, in my life, but if someone were to ever ask, I am the first one to talk to them about it. But with that said, I'm gonna jump into one of my craziest delivery night videos or stories rather, in this video, and you know, let me know what you guys think. I know at one point in YouTube, like story times were big, but you know, a lot of people were like making stories up and things like that. If anything, I'm watering these stories down because I want to make them more PC. I don't want to share certain stories because they were just out there, right? But it depends on what the response is to these style videos. Let me go ahead and get a candle going. This is the Hinoki candle by the Brooklyn Candle Studio. I love them. I love this. It's my favorite candle in the entire world. So I'm going to tell you about the time that my delivery driver got arrested and I had to do deliveries for him. So this was about, I want to say like September or October of 2017. And, you know, at this point, my service was in full swing. We had hundreds of customers. We were servicing from East Hampton to the Upper West Side of Manhattan. And there was just a large delivery range. I had multiple drivers, I was gonna say divers, multiple drivers on these nights, right? So I had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in different areas. And then we moved it from, I think it was Monday and Wednesday for the New York City area. So I also, during this time, you know, as my service was kind of running itself, I had people that helped me. I had a system in place. Things were really kind of running bumpy, but smoothly. It's more smooth than they had been running, right? And I wasn't always so involved. I didn't have to be like there every second doing deliveries, doing customer service, all this stuff. So I had a good system going. So I decided to pivot and start like a little business on the side doing commercial housekeeping or cleaning services. So like housekeeping for not people living in their homes, but maybe doing prep for homes that are being rented or being sold, things of that nature. Before I ever did a diaper service, for about a year and a half, I started my own cleaning company and it was doing really, really well until I got pregnant and I decided to close it. And that seems to be like, you know, I start a service or I start a business, I do it for a little bit, and then really like when I had my children, that's when it was hard, things evolved, and I really wanted to be raising my children. Like I wanted them to be there with me, and you know, the diaper service allowed me to bring them to the shop and do things like that. So, and I had my own schedule and everything like that. But at this point, you know, I was doing some commercial cleaning at night. I had a very good friend of mine, one of my best friends at the time. We have since lost touch, but he was with me and I'm like, listen, it's a delivery night. I have to go to Valley Stream and I have to do this house. He wasn't doing anything. I was like, why don't you come with me? We used to train together in martial arts, which is a whole other realm of my life that I don't talk about often because that's a lot, but that's how I met my husband. That's a whole other thing, right? Maybe one day I'll talk about it, but anyway, so this gentleman and I was like, listen, I was like, you want to make some money? I was like, come with me and let's clean this house, right? It's a big, huge house in Valley Stream, gorgeous. And I was like, let me do it at night because normally when, you know, people do commercial cleaning or they do empty houses, it's pretty, you know, it's pretty open. And I feel like I had the schedule wise, and I feel like there was a reason why I did it at night. I think it might have been the day after that they were moving someone in or something like that. I forgot the fine details. But so we go out there and my delivery driver, my head delivery driver at the time, he was out in New York City. I had another driver that was out. I had two drivers out in Long Island that night. Make a long story short, we go there and, you know, we're cleaning, we're listening to music, we're hanging out, we're talking this, that, and a third, you know, and it was like an easy job. And, you know, we're just talking about our life goals and he's sharing, you know, he wanted to propose to his girlfriend and, you know, whatever. So like we're talking and, you know, just sharing things about the future that we want to do, my goals and aspirations for my kids. You know, I think we were listening to like Linkin Park. I mean, whatever, we were having a great time. And I get a call, right? I'll call my driver, Bob. I'm not going to say his real name, Bob. So I get a call from Bob. And every time, this is another reason why I didn't want to do my service anymore. Because after a period of time, the stress and anxiety was too much for me. Because when I started my service, And until I ended it, I was always someone that I couldn't really put that wall up. It was always like outstanding customer service. I always went above and beyond. I was very much like going out of the realms of like being professional, I think. Like I would bend over backwards for people, and I was taken advantage of a whole lot. If I were to ever start another business again, firm foundation, business, never like overextending myself like that again, because it doesn't pay at the end, physically, emotional, spiritually, you know, and all that stuff. So I was getting like, I would immediately get like a pit in my stomach. I'm like, oh, why is Bob calling? You know, some issue with a customer, whatever. Because as you're gonna hear, that was like a recurring thing. Some customers were so eclectic, and I'm eclectic, and that's saying a lot. I had amazing customers, truly amazing customers, some that I even still keep in contact with. But I was always just worried about like something going on, whatever, God forbid he got into an accident, whatever the situation is, right? So I pick up and I'm like, oh, Bob's calling. I was all right, hold on one second, right, to my friend. I swipe over, you know, and I pick up the phone. I was like, hey, what's going on? I hear cop sirens in the back. And I'm like, what's going on? And he's like, I just have to tell my boss where my car is. And he's arguing with someone. And I'm like, what the hell is going on, right? You have like 50 deliveries. What are you talking about? So I'm like, hey, Bob, what's up? And he's like, listen, I'm getting arrested. And I'm like, why are you getting arrested? I have like outstanding tickets from like Staten Island, whatever. I don't know how they got me out here. You know, they're like 4 years old. I'm like, can I talk to the cop? And he's like, oh, my boss wants to talk to you. And he's like, is she your wife? And he's like, no, it's my boss. He's like, I'm not talking to her. Tell her that, you know, you're getting arrested and you'll talk to her in the morning. So he's like, my car is on, you know, 108th Street, West Manhattan, whatever, right? Random. It was definitely Upper West Side. So I'm like, wait, hold up. Where is the van? Where is it? Like, where are your keys? He's like, I gotta take my keys with me. I can't leave them here. I got all my stuff in here. They won't let me take anything. And then he's like, I gotta go. This is the address. And he hangs up. So I'm standing there, like, I'm looking at my friend. I'm like, Bob was just arrested, right? So try to call back, of course. I don't know why I even tried to call back. Like, maybe the cop would be different this time. Like, maybe he'll be nice. And I'm like, okay. But that didn't happen, went right to voicemail, right? So I'm like, all right, man, we gotta go to this address. I gotta get this guy's van. I'm gonna have to do the deliveries. Now, I had 2 Manhattan drivers that night. One of them, actually my sister, she did deliveries with me for years. Not like exclusively, but there were periods of time where she would help me out when I was trying to, you know, find someone else, whatever. And then I had someone else that had just started, and I wasn't gonna put the Manhattan deliveries on them because they were specifically a Long Island driver. So I was like, okay, I gotta do it. And my friend starts laughing. He's like, what do you mean you're gonna do it? We gotta finish this house. We're supposed to go out to eat afterwards. I'm supposed to meet up with my girlfriend. I'm like, listen, you don't have to come with me. I was like, I gotta go though. So let's finish this house. I'll pay you and you can leave. He's like, no, I'm not gonna leave you like that. Give me a second. Let me call her. Whatever he had to figure out. And his girlfriend was actually one of my best friends at the time as well. So with that said, it took about an hour. And then he was like, I'm coming with you. You're not gonna go out to Manhattan by yourself, even though I always did that. But I think he just knew I was rattled and it was like funny to him. So he's like, all right, let's go on an adventure, right? And those words were actually very heavy at that point because it was quite an adventure that night. So we're driving and I go to the van, right? We find the van. I'm like, all right, here we go, right? I usually would try to have him have like the little magnets. Sometimes he did, sometimes he didn't, whatever. They would use their own vehicles. That was one thing that I felt like as a subcontractor, it was a good idea. You can use your own car, use your own van. It got to the point where you had to use a van. So he's got, I don't know, dozens of deliveries, right? So I get there and I'm like, I'm trying to open the door. I'm like, where's his keys? And I forgot all about the keys. So I'm like, what? I'm looking around like a maniac, right? I'm like, where is this guy's keys? So after like 10 minutes of me just like searching every nook and cranny of this vehicle, I'm like, okay, he was arrested, so he's got to be at a precinct. So I start calling random precincts, right? Calling. No, we don't have Bob here. We don't have Bob here, whatever. I start getting real frazzled. I'm like, where the hell is this guy? Where is he? Was he really arrested? Is he lying, you know? Then I finally hit a precinct. I can't remember what. I didn't even realize there were that many precincts, you know, in the friggin' city. I had no idea. So I call and they're like, hey, listen, they're like, oh, okay. You know, I tell them the story and They're like, oh, I know, Bob's here. Bob, you know, whatever. He's like, and we actually have Bob's keys for you. But then I'm thinking, I'm like, why didn't Bob tell me that you were in this I guess he had no idea, whatever. So I get there, and it's like a whole search, right? It's like, I'm coming in there, I'm all frazzled, I'm walking in, there's a bunch of cops everywhere, and I'm wearing like my cleaning uniform, right? I didn't go all the way back from Valley Stream to the friggin' East End to get changed. I just left with like my scrubs on, right? So they're looking at me, and like, ma'am, have you had anything to drink tonight? I was like, what? I was like, I wish. I have to get keys from my driver that was arrested while he's working for me, right? So they're like, okay, ma'am, like, and the way they're looking at me, my father was a cop, rest in peace. So I know how they talk to you, kind of, because I just like went in there like a bat out of hell, and I was like, where are the keys, right? So my friend wasn't with me. He was staying outside. He was watching the van. He was like, you know, we had another car there, so whatever. We're trying to figure out parking. Whatever, I forgot what it was, but he's like, everything okay? You know, and he's the cop's trying to talk to me. I was like, listen. I was like, I apologize. I came in here like that. I was like, I'm very distraught right now, and I told the whole story, and they kind of like start laughing. And then the one guy at the counter was like, okay, yes, we have the keys. Just to let you know, he doesn't want to get fired. You know, this, that, and the third. And I was like, listen, that's like the last thing I'm thinking of. I got to get these deliveries out, right? So we're talking, whatever, right? I was like, do you know what's going to happen? He's like, oh, he's probably going to get a rain tomorrow, whatever, blah, 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 that we can't really give you any information. You know, you're lucky we're giving you the keys type of thing. And I was like, all right. And then when I was leaving, they were kind of asking me questions like, where are you going? And I was just laughing at myself. I was like, they think I'm like a freaking nut job, right? Like they think I'm a total nut job. So I'm talking to them for a minute, and I'm trying to calm myself down. I'm like really like animated, and I'm trying to chill out. So then I'm leaving, right? And then, you know, my friend outside, he's outside, and he's like right by the precinct. And he was like, I'm getting threatened to get a ticket because I'm idling. I'm like, dude, we just gotta go, right? I was like, I got the keys, find the damn parking spot, and let's get the hell out of here, right? So we get in the van, right? Now, this is the driver's van, okay? So I get in the van, and I'm like, there's no way I'm taking his van. Like, I'm not comfortable taking his van. God forbid I crash his van, whatever. So we take my vehicle, right? Which could, I guess, fit. It was my cleaning vehicle, so it could fit everything, but it was not comfortable, especially because you need to collect dirties, and that's a whole other thing. But I don't want this video to be too long, but it's just there's a lot that was going on. So I'm looking at the notes, right when I ended my business, we started to do things digitally. It was easier to go to a cell phone than it is to like print out, you know, 15 pages of notes where the deliveries are and stuff. And I start seeing things penned in. And he had notes for majority of deliveries, like weird notes, right? And weird notes I haven't seen because I've done deliveries so many times. I guess like I would say like if I had to pick up a certain way, I would be like, oh, go behind the person's house or talk to this person, whatever. But this was late at night in Manhattan. So I'm like, all right. The first one I remember was like, knock on the door 3 times, wait for the dog to bark, and then open the door and drop it off right inside the door. So I'm like, I don't want to knock on it. At this point, it's like 10:30 at night, right? I was like, I don't want to knock on the door. And then my friend who was with me, he's like, just do what the notes say. And then he would write where, because the driver had already done like 2 deliveries, but that was it out of a night that had like 38 deliveries. So I'm like, all right. So I knock on the door 3 times. I hear a dog bark. And then I open the door, and I thought there would be like some type of like little foyer thing. It was like some kind of brownstone, but not really, because I feel like there was multiple like apartments. Maybe it was a brownstone, but there was like 4 apartments on there. So I thought there would be some kind of like porch. I don't even know what I was thinking. Some divide. I opened the door, and some old lady's watching The Price is Right, and she's sitting on the couch. She's like, "Where's?" And I'm like, "Ma'am, oh my God, sorry. He's not. I'm doing the deliveries tonight." And she's like, "Do you want any crumb cake?" I was like, "No, ma'am." I was like, "Thank you so much." I was like, "I really appreciate it." I'm trying to be nice, right? So then she tries to talk to me, and then the guy that I'm with, he's outside, so he's like beeping the horn because he doesn't know how to drive in the city. So he's like illegal parking and parallel parking, or trying to parallel park and not doing a good job at it. So I'm talking to her for a minute, and then I was like, all right. I was like, listen, I was like, you know, have a great night. You know, thank you so much, whatever. So I leave. So my friend decides to do the next delivery for me to help me out. So I'm outside, I'm parked, I'm idling, I'm idling rather, and my friend goes all the way up to upstairs. And he was like, sends me a text. He's like, I'm not getting this bag. And I was like, dude, why not? Like, why aren't you getting this bag? Like, please just get the goddamn bag, make the swap, right? He's like, no, it's disgusting, man. I didn't bring any gloves. And I'm like, okay. So I park, because I know how to park in the city. So I go upstairs, and some of these customers, man, let me just tell you, like, some of these customers were foul. They were straight up foul. They had a huge, they didn't cinch their bag closed, okay? So there's tons of, it almost looks as if like somebody was changed a diaper after the bag was out and they just never cinched it closed. So the bag was like wide open and they missed a delivery the week before. So this was like 2 weeks of soiled bags. So I literally was just like this. I was like, come on, we got to get the hell out of here. And he's like, you better wash your hands. And I'm like, shut up, not now. I was like, we got to get out of here. I got all these deliveries, right? So there was just tons of like little things that were happening, right? Like throughout every single delivery, there was something. It was somebody not leaving a bag out. It was, you know, just had to knock on a door 12 o'clock at night, had to like do a random code, got locked out of one building, had to wake the person up. Like so many different things that were happening that night. And I'm like, I just cannot wait till I get home, right? So then the last part of the night, right? All the shenanigans of dealing with different deliveries and dealing with different people. There was just so much. There was so much going on. I'm driving down, I think it was like the east end of Manhattan, and I freaking hit something. I still don't even know what I hit. I don't know if I hit a pothole. I'm not really sure what it was, but I literally ripped my tire. And it was like boom, boom, boom. Everything's floating around. The bags that my friend was helping me with, they were all, like half of them were opened. He didn't cinch them correctly. So we smelled it, but it wasn't like, you know, the windows were open and things like that. And we were giving these little citrus discs out. So a lot of it smelled like citrus, you know? So I'm like, God damn it, right? I'm so pissed off. And I veer off to the side of the road. We're there for like a half an hour trying to change this tire. And I had to take all the diapers out. I'm wrapping all the bags super tight. That's my fault. I should have showed him, but it was just so late and I was so frazzled. I'm just trying to get these deliveries done because I knew how long it was going to take me. I had a full day the next day. You know, I had 2 young kids. Like, oh, well, actually at this point I had my 3 girls. So my little one, I was like just busy. I had a lot going on. So I knew I was going to get like an hour of sleep if I was lucky. So we're pulled over, we're getting all the bags out. Now I got people like that are just walking randomly, making comments, you know, and we're literally like in Manhattan, busy everywhere. And tons of diapers are on the side of the road. We had to get the freaking tire out that was like in the trunk area, you know, and get that out. We start making a change. I go to drive, I get pulled over by a cop. And I'm like, God damn it. And I realized that my registration was like a month behind. And I remember that it was one of those like things that I had to do, but my cleaning vehicle, I like never really took anywhere because sometimes I'd even just take my small car that I still have. I still rock that everywhere. I think I mentioned that in one of the other videos. It's my Honda Insight that I bought back in like 2011. It's got almost like 300,000 miles on it. The thing is a freaking beast. So a lot of times if I wanted to save on gas, instead of taking the van, I would take my car. So I realized that and I'm like, God damn it. I was able to get out of it, but not before talking to the cops for 25 minutes. We had to pop the trunk open. They wanted to know what was in all the bags. They thought my friend had a mask on, which was one of the reasons they pulled us over. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, right? And he's laughing the whole time because he had his hood up. He had a little beanie hat on, whatever he was wearing. And they're like, were you wearing a mask? And they're gonna have to ask you to step out of the car. And I'm like, give me a friggin' break, right? So that happened. And talking 25 minutes, whatever, figured it all out. I think they kind of gave me a pity pass. They're like, listen, clearly you got a lot going on. We're going to give you this pass. And I'm like, thank you so much. So then I wound up doing the rest of the deliveries, just hightailing it home on 495, dropping my friend off. He was like pretty much crying the entire time, laughing because it was just so ridiculous. The antics, it was crazy. And then my driver has the audacity to be like, how much are you paying me for tonight? Because I did do two deliveries. And I'm like, you did get arrested as well. You were arrested on the clock. Like, I'll pay you, but I definitely like did the rest of the deliveries. Got a flat tire, almost got a ticket, which was my fault. I had to fight to find out where you were, you know? And luckily he was a good driver. So when he showed up, you know, because he kind of also had like a little bit of an attitude, and that's a whole other thing. I mean, he was good for what he did. So I'm like, listen, man, I'm going to throw you a bone, but let's not pretend that you help me out. You know what I mean? Because that night you didn't help me out. You got arrested. I was like, please, for the love of God, pay all your goddamn bills. But that was that. Let me see how long this video is getting. Okay, 28 minutes. So I'm going to share with you another shorter story. And this one's kind of funny. It's very short, but it'll wrap up this. This should give you like a random, you know, perspective of the different things I dealt with. It was like 2:30 in the morning. I'm doing a delivery. I used to have delivery nights where if there were enough customers that like forgot to leave a bag out, you know, they were willing to pay a reroute fee. I'm like, all right, you know what? I'll go out there. I'll go get some red bamboo. It was a vegan spot. I was like, I'll have like a night that I'll go out there if it's only like 5, 6 people, whatever. And that's what I'm saying too. Like I always like bent over backwards. I was always very involved in my company. I believed in it. I wanted people to be happy. I really wanted people to be happy. I was big on like customer satisfaction. And I remember one time I read a review and I was bothered by the review because it was kind of like a backhanded compliment, but it was pretty much saying like, and this was like when I was like just starting to, it's like, oh, she's a bit disorganized, but she'll hook you up with free stuff if like she messes something up. And I feel like a lot of people would always try to like get stuff on me, but I did it anyway because I believed in what I did. And a lot of times I always had customers that came back with their second, third babies. I had customers for years. I had one customer that was literally like one of my first customers and then finished as one of my last customers. Like literally just had babies throughout, had multiple babies, whatever. So this one night in particular was Upper West Side, and it was late. It was like 2:30, 3 o'clock tops, and I had to go. It was like a real bougie building, right? So I had to do the service entrance because God forbid I was with everybody else who were walking in the regular entrance. So I'm walking in the back, and I'm like la 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 la, right? I'm just like kicking stuff around, whatever. And it's like dark, so like sometimes I'd get like kind of freaked out. So I would just like, you know, sing to myself, do whatever. I don't know. I talk to myself all the time. So I'm walking, and I'm about 50 feet from where I have to go. And I see this group of rats, okay? Like 5 rats scurry right here. And I literally was like, I stopped for a second, and they all went on their hind legs. All of them. All 5 of them went on their hind legs like this. They all sat up. Like, you know, like not at the same exact time. Like one would do it, and then the other 2 would do it, whatever. So they all sat up, and they're all looking at me. And I'm like, and then they all just literally scurry away, all 5 of them. And then the last one that had its tail just going, big city sewer rats. And I like literally screamed like, ah, running into the building. And even, I just remember it. Rats are so sweet though. They're so sweet. But these guys were like this big. I can't even, they were gigantic. But they were kind of polite, right? Because like I'm walking, and then they're walking like this, and then they all just stand up, and like I literally wave them on. Like, how do you know what a wave is? You know what I mean? You're a freaking sewer rat, you know? So I run in the building, and it was all by the dumpsters too, which New York City has a big rat problem. But anyway, so then I run back out, and I'm like booking it, right? I'm like booking it. And then I run back into my van. But I have like a lot of like funny like stories like that. I got a lot of those, right? I got tons of those. Pigeons. I got tons of different animal stories. Raccoons, cats, dogs, stray dogs that I would find that I have to bring to the, you know, to the animal shelter, or, you know, I'd take them with me and give them to somebody, like somebody else to watch for them, and then they would take them to the animal shelter. I had so many different stories like that. But that gives you kind of like a good degree of the different things that I had to deal with. The rat one, I just think it's funny because that's like just random, but the arresting one, I have multiple ones. I had one where, I'll save it for another video, but I had one where a customer was launching dirty diapers at one of my drivers, like totally outrageous behavior. But I kind of just wanted to share those. I also have another like animal rescue story. I found this little baby animal. He wound up coming with me the entire delivery. And that animal lived a long time. That's another story too. But yeah, I'm gonna end the video like this because I'm kind of rambling and it's already like half an hour into it. But if you want to hear more delivery night stories, if you want to hear different stories about my service, how I started, how I ended, all the drama in between, all the shenanigans, all the good, bad, and the ugly, do let me know. Leave a comment in the comment section below, and I hope you enjoyed this video of the Diaper Diaries. Until the next time, thank you guys.